The first thing I want to do here is replace the land that I destroyed in this area. I'm going to go ahead and put this, put this all back. I've finished replacing all the peat. All right, I've got all that done. Now I'm trying to make sort of the entrance or maybe exit. I'm just kind of roughing it out. I'm eventually going to put like actual stair blocks. And yeah, I pretty much hate it. We can come back to that later though, because what I really want to work on is like the ceiling on each of these levels. Anyway, I think I have a little bit of a block palette here. And kind of what I'm thinking is that this all looks like concretes of different types. And then this is going to be like a highlight block, maybe. I also need a way to make, to be able to reach the roof. Because that's like really far. And if I'm going to be placing blocks by hand, looking up, like that's going to suck. To like create scaffolding. That's going to really suck. So what I think I'm going to do is use this thing called an extendo grip. But I need to make it and I need to craft it using create. So apparently to make the extendo grip, I need these crafter thingy-mabobbers, one of these precision mechanism thingy-mabobs, and a brass hand. There it goes. Hopefully it's long enough. Let's check out and see if I can actually reach this. No, I can't. Oh, geez. Well, it looks like the only way to do this is to use some scaffolding. So scaffolding we shall create. Alrighty, well I've been at this a good several hours and I have not finished a single layer yet. It's looking pretty good, I really like the way it looks, but it's just taking forever. And if I want to have this done before the final season of the show comes out, I'm going to need to speed this up a bit. So, how can we speed this up a bit? It finally hit me as I was doing this. I was like, there's got to be a faster way to do this with Create Mod. And believe it or not, there is. The schematic cannon, which I completely sort of forgot about how it works and what we can do with it. So the schematic cannon essentially allows us to make a schematic and then copy and paste that schematic in the world. I think that's what I need to do. And my original idea was to just take one of these squares and like repeat it, or maybe a few of them so that I don't get, ugly sort of obvious repetitions. But I think that a better way to go about this is actually to copy a larger section of this build, and then I can do a lot more all at once. And also this is going to be so much better because I won't have to use this netherrack scaffolding, and it's just going to be so much nicer overall. Now let's grab out a schematic thingy. That is the schematic and quill. Apparently I only needed one of these, and I thought I needed one for each schematic that I did, which is false. So if you're making this stuff, you really only need one of these schematic and quills. And then you need the blank schematics, which I'm going to have to make some more of because I turned them into schematic. Anyways, it's quite the thing. So all I have to do is right-click here. This is where I want it to start. And then I'm going to pull it over here like this, all the way over to where I want it. Now, what I really want is I want this curve as well. So what I think I'm going to do is to there. So I'm going to place in a stone block so when I go up above I can see where the heck I am. Make sure the stone block is in the right place. Yes, that should do it. And I'm also going to include these lights because I'll be able to just put those in really easily using this method, I believe. And so there we go. So there's my stone block. So I just need to remove it actually and then capture from there. And if I right click, then that should be good to go. Actually, I'm going to put a piece of netherrack right here just to remind myself that is where it starts, like right below that netherrack. Okay. All right, I think I've got it in the right place now. So all I have to do is get my schematic cannon going. So let's place that down. There we go. Right click it, put this guy in here, and then it needs gunpowder. to activate it. It says it is ready. However, I think we also need to place down some inventory stuff to make sure that it has all the blocks it needs. And it just so happens that I made boxes for this very purpose. Okay, here we go. Missing item, yellow iron cage lamp. And that is in here, though. There it goes. Ah! Missing item, sanded stone. Stone. Sanded stone. Does that have to be right next to it? That's really irritating. See, missing item, stone. All right, fine. This is the stone box. Let's see if this does it. Really? Come on. Eroded tough. That's what this is. It has to be right next to it. This is lame. Let's just grab out a bunch of this. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. There we go. Shove it in here. There we go. Are you happy now? Build my thing. Look at it. There it goes. It's a tad on the slow side, but it's certainly faster than I could do it. So I suppose while it's doing that, I can do other things, like maybe get the next section. That's pretty cool, honestly. That is very cool. Dang, it finished just like that. It's done. Whoa. That is crazy. That did a good job. Did a very good job. Okay, so next what I need to do is grab this corner, and then I'll have the two pieces that I need, and we can just go around and, you know, do this on each level. And this should take substantially less time than it was going to take me placing all of the blocks myself. I'd say that's a pretty far range. I mean, there's the cannon, and it's spitting them out like it's no problem. It's pretty cool. It's probably like render distance, I bet. Because I know you can make like very large schematics of like really huge builds and stuff with it. So anyway, it's nice to know. Okay, we're on the next level. I have lined up the first piece. Let's let it rip. That's sort of interesting. It looks like it's putting up the put the lights in first. That's funny. I think it goes from bottom to top, if I remember correctly. But regardless, it's pretty cool. And while it's doing that, I can fill in some of these dirt spots. So I'm a little bit concerned about the level of gunpowder that I have here. We might have to do some creeper hunting. Okay, it's done. Time for the next section. Here we go. And la 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 la. La 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 la. Hey look, and I even found a couple creepers. Well, that went poorly. Alright, so that worked out pretty well. It's completely done. It took a good while, but it certainly was less time than it would have taken me to do by hand, and also I was able to fill in most of these holes in the ground as I was also fighting creepers occasionally and doing some other stuff. Now I just need to move down a layer and do it again. Okay, well, I moved down way more than one layer, and we are close to the very bottom here. And I am really liking how this turned out. Now that each layer is a little bit thicker, it's 3 blocks instead of just 1 block. It looks a lot better. And just looking up at it, I'm really, really pleased with how this is looking so far. Still a lot of work to do. And then I need to figure out the walls. I've been kind of messing around with the walls a little bit here and there, just trying to figure out. You can see right there, I was trying to figure some stuff out, just trying some different things. Not sure if any of that is going to be kept, but just kind of messing around with it while I was waiting for the gun to fire. Also, I've got a lot of XP. I did a little bit of enchanting, so I have a slightly bit better armor now. This is the last piece of the pie, all the way to the bottom. Look at that. So just line her up. And then there's like all these hotkeys I have to remember. So there we go. All right, and then I gotta go here, rotate it too far. There it is, and then back here to the move X Z. And yeah, it's in position. Okay, that looks pretty good. That's pretty nice. I really like the schematic cannon. You know, I'm going to be using this more. This is great. This is great. Okay, I think all I have to do is load this in here. We have enough gunpowder to complete the activity, the journey, the piece, whatever. And there it goes. So looking upwards, this looks pretty darn good. I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with it. Of course, we have a long ways to go. I need to fill in all of the walls. I need to fill in these columns that go in here. Basically, they go on either side of each of the walkways. So there's just going to be a giant column that goes all the way up here, and then one there and one there, and then one on each side of these, actually. So not one column, but two. And then those have lights on them, and then we need to finish this stairway thing because I need to put like this smooth stone or whatever I'm going to use around it, kind of like I did down here. I did a little bit down here just to kind of test how it's going to look. And then, of course, we need to put in all of the farms and all the mechanisms for everything, so there's so much to be done here. But this is looking really good, even though it's a gigantic project. I am pleased. I am very pleased. And I think I like this wall texture here. I don't know, like, that over there looks a little bit too, like this, I guess. So it looks a little too natural looking, where this looks definitely man-made. And I'm trying to achieve these tiles, if you will. But the problem is, these aren't, like, quite lining up. Because this is called like a outline. I don't know. Well, duh, it's called an outline. Dude, that's an outline, you guys. Duh. Anyway, this outline around this texture is supposed to simulate the cracks, or the joints, not cracks, but the joints in concrete pieces. And I'm not sure if it's doing quite what I want. And then, of course, this is kind of like either sort of water damage or just sort of it's a little bit damp up there, so the concrete is reflecting that, or the dampness is making the concrete look darker as it does in real life. But I don't know. I've been staring at that for quite a while, and I'm like, do I like it? Do I not like it? Do I like it? Do I not like it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And it's come to the point where I have to make a decision soon, because that's pretty much the next step, is to make the walls on every level as the cannon blasts away. The decision's been made, and I finished the walls. I like this. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. I don't absolutely love this texture, but I think that when you look at it sort of not close up and just you're kind of wandering around, that it gives the correct effect of some concrete planks, like concrete slab stuff on the walls. And then the variation in color, I think, really helps to make this difference. It's such a subtle variation, but this is a little bit more green and this is a little bit more blue. And so that subtle variation, I think, really helped to just make this look like kind of like old concrete that's just been there for a long time and is just holding everything up. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. Now, the tricky part is, how am I going to do this on the other levels without... because this took me probably, it probably took me about four 2-hour sessions, maybe 4 3-hour sessions to make these walls. And so if I do that on every level, that's a lot of hours. Now, if we were playing vanilla, I'd just do it. And well, I probably wouldn't start a project this big, but if we were doing vanilla, you know, it'd just be a thing that you have to do. But since we have the schematic cannon, I'm just going to try to figure out a way to use the schematic cannon. So I think what I need to do, I think I'm going to try to do the whole thing in one shot. Just like one schematic for the whole wall section. Okay, I have saved the schematic, the entire thing, because I'm insane. That's why. That's why I did that, because I'm insane. I'm completely insane. And now we just have to, paste it on the next level and stuff. Yeah, so I'm positioning the schematic on the next level, and this looks a little nuts. Man, this is crazy. Okay. All right, so I think this is the important part. We need to look at these settings. So replace solid with solid. We want that to be, don't replace solid blocks. Okay, there we go. That's the one I want. Replace solid with any, and replace solid with empty. Okay. And then we want skip missing blocks. Protect block entities. Sure. And then, so if we do skip missing blocks, then if I only put in the smooth stone, the sanded tuff, the smooth tuff column, and then the variance of that of the stone, then it shouldn't try to replace like any of the torches or any of the other random stuff that I had laying about. And it should also not try to replace or place in like the stairs that are there that are part of the schematic. And I think that it will work. And then I'm going to have to fill in these little gap areas by hand. But I can do that on every level. That's not too big of a deal. It's a little annoying, but it's not too bad. Okay, so all I have to do now is put this in here. If I can. It like does not want to scroll over the schematic. And there we go. So it's armed. And we need gunpowder, of course. Okay, the shulker box is loaded with just those 5 types of blocks. So hopefully this works. It's going to make the pathway. That's irritating. Yeah, this is really wild. It's like going around in a circle. It's pretty cool, actually. Okay, that layer is now done, and I like it. I think this is looking really good. Once we get the crops in place and all of the crop harvesters and some decorations in here, I think everything is going to be pretty awesome, actually. All right, I've done every level with the walls except for the top and the bottom. The bottom should be pretty easy. The top, I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. All right, everything looks good in position, and I have it set so that it's not going to replace any of this stuff. Let me just take a look at the surface. I don't think we'll have a problem. No, none of it's sticking out the surface except for right here and then just like this little stairway. But that's not a big deal because I could just break those blocks. And while that thing's been going, I've been working on some wall detail here with the eroded deep slate. And I think it's looking pretty good as far as having some sort of, you know, staining of the concrete from some sort of liquid. Or just water probably would be most apt. So, yeah. All right, so I did the staining on an entire level. So like this stuff right here, this eroded deep slate, on an entire level. And I'm very happy with the way this has turned out. It looks exactly like what I want. Well, not exactly, but I mean really, really close to what I wanted in my head, in my little tiny head. Anyway, I've also completed the top level of the cannoning, the wall automatic placement, and that's all done. And so now we only have the bottom level to do and more details around more staining, filling in some gaps here and there where the little schematics just didn't quite reach for various reasons. And then all of the walls and stuff will be done. There you go. There's the top floor. Oh no. Slide. Oh yeah, I also need to do the walls down here. So there's that too. But for right now, I'm getting pretty bored of these walls. And what I've done here is I've started working on these pillars, and I think I have a design. And the idea of these pillars is each one goes on the opposite side of a walkway. So there's going to be 2 there, 2 here on this walkway, and then 2 over on wherever the other third one is right there. 3, 4, 5, and then these stone lanterns from supplementaries. They're called stone lamps. They look pretty good. Okay, there's one complete tower, and now I have to just do the next one. All right, that's these 2 towers. Those are the easy ones. Next, I have to figure out how they're going to go into the diagonal ramp thingies. See, so on this corner here, that would mean that it would be that one, this one, and this one. Yeah, you know, I think that's going to work. These are in. One more set to do over here. I ran out of those lantern things, so I'm harvesting some more of these little glow shroomy deals. Shroom lights. They're called shroom lights. Okay, all 6 pillars are in place, and I'm very happy with how this is looking. I think the pillars make it look a lot deeper and taller. Now those pillars are in, the next thing I'd like to do is thicken up the staircase a little bit. I did some down here. And then also these walkways across need to be thickened up as well. So I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but the way I'm approaching this is if I place a block and it's already above, then I don't place another block. But if I place a block and it's flush, like right here, then I place another block. And I think that's going to work. Oh my goodness, I reached the top. I had no idea it was this close. So if I take a look, yeah, it's definitely thicker. The last thing I want to do is maybe put in some more of these pillars. I was looking at the picture of the TV show Silo, and it has like pairs all the way around, and then in between some of them, there's like these little sort of extensions. Anyway, I'm thinking about doing that because it does look a little bit too open. And I'm laying out the next 6 of these tower thingies. Okay, up we go. Like, why are there birds spawning down here? Okay, I put in all of the other pillars, and I'm glad I did. I think this looks really good now. It's kind of hard to get a good picture from any angle of what it looks like, but that's making me very happy. Okay, I think we have time in the episode for one more thing, and that is a big light at the top of this and some mirrors. That's how it is in the TV show. There's like this big sort of globe light thingy, and then there's like these mirrors that are around. Don't know if I'm going to do it justice, but at least we can do something about this dirt ceiling. Okay, I think that's going to be better. It's still a little bit on the small side. I'm going to try one more thing. I will say I really love the texture of these redstone lamps. These are called hived lamps or something like that from Chipped. Okay, yeah, I think that's the shape that I'd like to have. Yeah, this is looking good. It really looks quite a bit like the actual TV show. Okay, after looking at this for a little while, I like this. What I was attempting to say is I like this. I like these lights here, but I don't know if I like this block. It's too smooth. Oh, I really don't like working on ceilings. I just don't like it. I think this iron plating stuff is going to work a lot better. Okay, let's see. That is not half bad. That actually kind of looks like the TV show. Well, that was much more grindy than it should have been, but now all I have to do is remove the scaffolding and we can take a look. Oh yeah, wow, that looks really nice. The Enderman likes it too, don't you, Enderman? Uh-oh. Looks like I forgot redstone dust on this one little spot. And you know what else is done? This episode. We're all done. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Words are difficult. Anyway, I hope you're having an amazing, awesome, beautiful, fantastic, stupendous day. And God bless.